Today, we're diving into a pretty wild mystery that, honestly, almost all of us have experienced, but very few of us actually understand. We're talking about the neuroscience behind those intense, completely involuntary emotional reactions. If you've ever wondered why your body just suddenly hijacks your mind out of nowhere, you are absolutely in the right place. I mean, let me ask you, have you ever experienced a massive physical reaction? We're talking a suddenly raising heart, a tight stomach, just a massive flood of pure urgency, long before your logical brain could even evaluate the situation. Like, your brain hasn't even processed the actual words on the screen yet, but your body, it's in full 5-alarm fire mode. It honestly feels like the reaction hits you completely before the thought even exists. Just look at some of these things. A delayed text message, a slight shift in someone's tone of voice, a brief moment of silence in a conversation, or even a minor disagreement. Let's be real, in the grand scheme of things, these are incredibly minor stimuli. Yet for so many of us, they can trigger an overwhelming urge to just shut down or unleash an intense wave of panic or rage. Your body is quite literally reacting way before you can even think. And then what happens after that intense wave finally passes? Well, we usually judge ourselves pretty horribly. We say things like, ugh, I'm being so irrational, I'm way too dramatic, or I'm just too sensitive. It feels awful, and it can be incredibly isolating. But here is what's actually so beautiful. Trauma neuroscience offers a much more compassionate and scientifically accurate explanation for what's actually going on beneath the surface of those overwhelming moments. Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1, the paradigm shift. The brain predicts the future. So, for years, we operated on this old view of the brain. We basically imagined it as this passive observer. The assumption was simply that the world happens first, and then the brain reacts to it. Makes sense, right? Well, actually, scratch that. Contemporary neuroscience has given us a new view that completely shatters that old model. As it turns out, your brain is a prediction machine. Instead of just passively waiting around for reality to arrive, your nervous system is continuously generating expectations about what is likely to happen next, and it bases this heavily on your past. Neuroscientist Lisa Feldman Barrett provides a really incredible insight into this. She points out that human beings do not experience pure objective reality. We just don't get clean, unfiltered sensory info from the outside world. Instead, we're constantly filtering every single incoming experience through our prior learning. And the brain does this because, well, it's enormously efficient. It conserves energy, and fundamentally, it's what keeps us alive. To pull this off, your nervous system is running this highly efficient subconscious checklist, literally every second of the day. First, it asks, what does the situation resemble? Then, based on my history, what usually happens next? And finally, what should I prepare my body for right now? Under normal circumstances, this predictive system works like an absolute charm to organize our behavior and keep us safe. But things change. Section 2, trauma reorganizes your predictions. So what exactly happens when this incredibly efficient predictive system is altered by traumatic environments? Environments where danger was frequent, unpredictable, or maybe even unavoidable. As you'll see, if your past experience involved repeated betrayal, unpredictable emotional explosions, or maybe just temporary peace before things got bad again, your brain creates these rigid, high-precision beliefs. Its prediction gets completely locked in. It constantly expects betrayal, instability, or collapse, even when you are totally safe in the present moment. It's expecting the absolute worst in a desperate, deeply loyal attempt to protect you. I really want this to sink in for a second. This is not irrationality. It is learned survival forecasting. When you have one of those intense, seemingly out-of-nowhere physical reactions, it's not a sign that you're misbehaving. It's not a sign of weakness. It's simply your nervous system using an outdated emotional map. A map your body meticulously built to help you survive your past.
Which leads us to Section 3, triggers and collapsed time.
To see how this all plays out in real time, we have to talk about speed and why your rational mind and your nervous system often seem to be living in two entirely different realities. Neuroscientist Joseph LeDoux famously pointed out that our threat processing systems prioritize speed over accuracy. Evolution favored organisms that could react quickly to danger, not the ones who stop to accurately assess it. Is that a stick or a snake? Run first, ask later. This means your survival systems will literally always outpace your conscious reasoning. Your body reacts way before your rational brain can even catch up. And that brings us to the hidden anatomy of a trigger. Because the system is built for pure speed, a trigger is really just a tiny, tiny stimulus that activates a conditioned survival prediction, a specific tone of voice, a facial expression, a familiar smell, someone emotionally withdrawing, or just feeling misunderstood. Boom! Your nervous system recognizes a fraction of a similarity and fires off the alarm bells long before your conscious thought can step in and evaluate the actual context of the room. Psychiatrist Bessel van der Kolk observed something deeply profound about this whole process. He noted that traumatized individuals often react to reminders of the past as though the traumatic event is happening again, right now, in the present. This is a fascinating neurological truth. The lower survival structures in our brainstem, the parts actually pulling the fire alarm, they literally lack a sophisticated sense of chronological time. They genuinely do not know that years or even decades have passed. So the body has essentially collapsed time internally. The past and the present become emotionally fused together. When you're in a triggered state, it feels absolute and often intensely disproportionate to the moment, because you aren't just having a distant memory. You are physically and physiologically re-entering an older survival reality. Your body genuinely believes the threat is right there in the room with you right now. Now let's look at a really tricky part of this. Section 4, why calm feels unsafe. This predictive mapping leads to a deeply painful and honestly counterintuitive consequence. Have you ever wondered why a stable environment or maybe an incredibly kind partner can actually cause anxiety? Well, it all comes down to a prediction error. This happens when your incoming reality, like peace or stability, simply doesn't match your nervous system's learned expectations of chaos or danger. When things are calm, a traumatized nervous system doesn't just kick back and relax. Instead, it asks, wait, where's the danger? What am I missing? Calmness actually triggers relentless hypervigilance. Which leads us to this stark, difficult reality. The body actually prefers familiar danger over uncertain safety. This profoundly explains why survivors might unconsciously recreate chaos or end up staying in exceptionally unhealthy situations. It is absolutely not because they consciously want pain. No way. It's simply because their internal prediction systems prioritize familiarity and survival over happiness. An unfamiliar piece, that feels incredibly vulnerable. It feels like massive emotional exposure. So, how do we fix this? Section 5. Updating the nervous system. How do we actually go about updating these outdated internal maps? Well, remember, just knowing your history intellectually is not enough to stop those predictive, involuntary reactions. Your body has to learn new realities at a core physiological level. It has to deeply learn. This is not then. This person sitting right in front of me is not that person from my past. This current moment is not the original danger. And the environment, it's entirely different now. So the absolutely crucial point here is this. Your nervous system only updates its predictive map through repeated lived experiences. It requires feeling physically safe, experiencing healthy co-regulation with other people, establishing really firm boundaries, and having relational consistency over a long period of time. You just cannot reason your way out of a trauma response. You literally have to live your way into a new prediction. Slowly, over time, the nervous system learns that activation does not always mean an impending catastrophe. I really want to leave you with this final thought. When you react intensely to ordinary moments, you are not weak, you are not dramatic, and you are definitely not broken. Your body simply learned its expectations honestly, trying its absolute best to protect you. Your nervous system isn't broken, it's just temporarily forgetting what year it is. So the next time you feel that sudden surge of panic over a delayed text message, ask yourself, is my body responding to what's happening right now, or is it trying to survive a ghost from the past? Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Now go see how many of your own predictions you can spot out there today.
Thank you for watching. If something in this resonated with you, then you're already closer than you think. If you're ready to go deeper, there's a link below to my book, The Survival Self: How Childhood Adaptation Becomes Adult Identity, and How to Finally Live Beyond It. This isn't theory, it's a framework you can actually use. Tap the link below and step into it.